Hello everyone, this is the Gas is Expensive 3 official commentary, director commentary. Me, Zach Pike of Novel Productions, and I will be your guest tonight. Or you'll be my guest as I walk through parts of Gas Expensive 3, telling you some stories, some special little moments that we were not able to portray, and just some fun moments we're talking about filming and stuff about that. So there's a lot of good stuff that happened in this. This was the first film I got to make. I am so glad I got to make it, and let's get to talking about it. So right now we're just seeing, I had to throw in a little flashback stuff. There's me with no shirt on. That's always a good thing to see. But this is the flashback showing the people who didn't see the first or second one. Little thing for them. Now, I'm going to be talking about several things that influenced me in this movie, and you're going to laugh because there are things that are way better than this will ever be. Okay, this shot right here, the eye opening. You ever watched Lost before? One of the things that influenced me in making this, and I just saw, or I just finished the actual series, or actually I think it was still going on while we were filming this, was Lost. If you've never seen it, check it out. That's another shot. I won't spoil what episode that's in, but I just saw, like, you know, that series, and that stuck with me. So a couple Lost things are kind of sprinkled through this. But one thing about this intro is I really like this intro because you're seeing me, you're seeing, okay, Zach's there. Ooh, who's this mystery guy though? Kind of call back to Gas Expensive there with laptop. But for this we decided we wanted to have another new character, and this is Bam. You get to see him in his boxers. That is Russell Chandler in the flesh, literally in the flesh. But Gov, which is Russell, will just say it's Russell. We're going to live in the real world for this commentary, but Russell, he was going to play Gov, or he was not supposed to actually. He was going to be just one of the Oilers extras, and a person who I am no longer acquaintances with was going to play Gov. But you know what? I am glad. That's another thing I'll talk about in this commentary. This movie, a ton of stuff went wrong, which turned out amazing, which turned out way better. The first being Gov, the original actor, who I'm no longer acquaintances with, he was going to be the one playing Gov. So freaking glad that didn't happen and Russell played it, because Russell, I think, was perfect for this role, for being a kind of worn down detective, or not detective, but a cowboy type character, whatever, sheriff type, kind of like whatever guy, bounty hunter. Well, that's what he is, isn't he? Bounty hunter. I should know my movie. But he played it perfectly, and I'm so glad that was the first thing. This shot, John, when he jumped down the hill here, I had saw, because I came back, or I came up, he wasn't looking, there was bushes in the way, whatever. His neighbors were out right there. Well, the way I was kind of afraid we wouldn't be able to get that shot done that day, so I did not tell John that his, neighbors were out. He jumped out, was like, dang it, or whatever, he messed up on the shot. He messed up the shot before that. And it was like, oh man, and looked over, saw them, and he's like, and my neighbors are out. So that was good. His neighbors had a good laugh at that. And they also, you'll get to see a speck of the neighbor. Neighbor, if you're watching, you're actually in this movie, because they were across the street later on. They like to watch while we were filming that stuff around the house. But yeah, what else to talk about this? I really like this intro. That's the only time with him going down the street right there, and I think another shot up here with Russell going on the street on the motorbike. Only time the police were called on us. Out of all we freaking did a car chase on a road. That's fine. Just don't have Russell driving a motorcycle and doing wheelie on a, neighborhood road. That's not good. Only time that things were kind of tense there. What else here? That's at a school that's no longer... That's another thing about this movie. A lot of stuff you see, Russell's bike, that school that John, spoiler alert if you've never seen the movie, John's walking up to right there is not there. And listen right here, you get to hear something. Here's a little Easter egg. Hear that? That noise, those noises were we had it on a charger and it was too short, so it just was rubbing up against the camera, so that was a good thing.
My name is Gov. I'm a bounty.
And this is the first time.
The ones responsible for making gas so expensive.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt him.
I'm gonna
But
and they will.
this is the first time you're hearing Gov. You're getting to hear his little backstory. What is he doing? That's another thing, kind of moving ahead. Gov, we thought of his name, whatever, he gets to say it right here. That's the only time you get to hear it. And then we tried to think of a name for Mike's character, who Mike Bisson plays Thorn. Bet you didn't know who that was. That was the guy in the purple garb. And we kind of just, when we had to think of a name and it never came out in the movie, so that was kind of worthless. This scene, it was just me, him, and Russell that day. We ran out and got this shot, and this had me laughing forever because it's a rundown, just ticked off bounty hunter with just some 8th grade punk in middle school. Like, it is the most on the opposite end of the spectrum. That made me laugh forever. Like, that whole this gag gets me. I like this a lot. So also, while we were shooting this, something that happened, there was 2 girls. We got done luckily, but 2 girls came out of the woods out of nowhere and was like hanging out or something. But there's a playground, you know, of course, because you can kind of see parts of it, but there's slides and stuff next to this, and they were up in them, like talking, I don't know, just being loud and obnoxious, but they were just cussing a million miles a minute. So we luckily got done with the last thing, like when he pushes him off the swing here in a second.
Man, you got me weak, man.
But see, right there at the playground, they were just going at it. And when I pushed him off, or we did this shot where it looked like he fell off right here in a second, that's where they were going at it. And I had to kind of like cut the audio. But man, we got out of there just in time, or we would just had to beat up some girls, which I'll do if it's getting interfering with the movie. And yeah, this is a great scene, but just everything happens. Seems like every scene there was something weird that would happen, or something that would interfere or whatever. See right here, they were using their filthy mouths. I wouldn't kiss my mother with that mouth that they kissed that their mother's probably with. But fun scene, quick scene, good old scene with Kyle there. And this right here, you're hearing me changing the radio station. Oh, what is that? That is the if you've seen Gas Expensive 1 and 2, we actually made an entire intro to, you know, we were going to do a whole season 2, whatever. We got busy with stuff and work and girlfriends and stuff, you know, ladies, you know, but we got busy and we never, like, we just used it for Gas Expensive 1 and 2. That's all it got used for. So we had to decide, were we going to use that in this one? But because we were using HD camera and stuff, that was shot on SD. I didn't want to frick with it, but I wanted to throw that in there as a little kind of nod because this is kind of like an intro to the movie, you know. So I threw it in as the radio playing in the background. I thought that was neat. Did you think that was neat? Did anyone even freaking care? But you get to see this in the behind the scenes when John gets very, very angry at the line. It's this one or the next one.
That does not explain.
But John just could not wrap his head around some of the words. They were too big for him. Yeah, this one right here. We had to drive around our little town. It took 30 minutes. It took way too long. But yeah, he had a good time explaining that. But we get to explain. You get to hear right here the whole thing. What happened? Why is John alive? Which doesn't make any sense. John is alive. That's a shocker, you know, like John should be dead. He died in the second one.
The dumbest thing ever.
And you get to hear, I'm kind of talking as the viewers. This is kind of dumb. So it is dumb, but I had to fill all those plot holes in somehow with more plot holes. this was the very first thing that we shot.
Oh man, looks like we got company.
And man, I knew that this was going to be great because this was the first day, so hot, and we had like, I don't know how many people were out there. Leading up to this, I'm going to try and talk fast because this is a short scene. I can't say S's. But the one person that was going to help, Shelby, who plays my love interest in the film, she was supposed to be the other driver, kind of, you know, shooting out, and that ended up being our friend Stephanie Englund, who I'd known for 2 days. And leading up to this, as she, like the car that's using this right now is shooting out the window, we had no car, and Shelby actually had to go to the hospital, very sick, unfortunately, and I actually had no one else to help. Like, who was going to let me use their car? Knew Stephanie for 2 days, and I called her, I texted her up, and I was like, hey, you don't even know me that well. Can we use your car and have people leaning out the side of it to film a video? She said yes, and I still talk about to this day. That was awesome. It was so cool for her to do that. But we wouldn't have got that. That was the only day we all could have got together with our schedules to do this, and she freaking came through. So thank you, Stephanie, if you're listening to this. You probably never will. But I love this day. Was so hot, and for the first, like, they're leaning out the window now. For the first part, they had to have the windows up. That wasn't good because it was like 90 degrees that day. It was the hottest freaking day to film this. But once we got done, and like everyone was so on board with this, it was the first day of filming. I was so excited because we got it all done. Everything went perfect, and just this was so fun to film. You get to see right here. Look at Grant there in the passenger seat. He's got, see how they're trying to help him get out. Couldn't get out. He told me, and you'll get to see this in behind the scenes. He tells me, yeah, I'm stuck in the passenger seat, and that car is really old, the Nissan. And my brain was going so over the place, like filming, trying to get that done, and getting the hour, or like, you know, getting done in time. I didn't pay attention to it. So come that time, he's like, yeah, I was stuck in there. I was like, oh, come on. Yeah, he told me. He tried to warn me, so I'm an idiot for that, but it ended up being funny because they're trying to get him out, whatever. But yeah, so I loved filming this. This is just such a fun thing. And when we first started, you get to see this in the kind of the behind the scenes documentary or whatever we did for this. I talked about it was supposed to be 10 minutes, and then we kept adding to stuff. And one of the stuff I was really wanting was a car chase scene. And we ended up getting it in here, and that was what made it not 10-minute film. We ended up making it a movie because it ended up being so long. But I'm so happy and pleased how that came out. That was one of the last things I edited because I wanted it to be so, you know, perfect. But as you can see, there's other things I kind of leave crappy in this film on purpose. But that was one thing I wanted cool. Kind of like, oh shoot, they're shooting, kind of cool stuff. But
It's got instructions on where you need to go and who you need.
you can go back in our older videos and see that we progressed pretty cool. Like there's a car chasing, Gas Expensive 3, Gas Expensive 2. We had good makeup and whatever. The first one we had crowns we ate. You know, we're always pushing the boundary here. And this, I think, out of everything, you know what? This was one of the hardest. It's not the hardest I thought, but one of the hardest things to film. Oh, Zach, but you kind of just threw together horrible audio. Yes, I did. But the cars on the side were so loud that came by this road that we had to just wait for the perfect moment. Like, see, even there was a car. But we had to wait till cars wouldn't come to film on this, and that's a horrible transition right there. But we had to wait for the cars to go by and whatever. Also coming up here is a little reference to the time. You'll see references of what was going on at the time and things we were watching with the "You Done Goofed" line. It's a good video. Check it out. You Done Goofed. But another thing, when we were on this, and I wanted the rocking to be in there, but it kept squeaking, and our Alex Davis, the person filming this, was like, yeah, that's definitely picking up in the mic, the windy mic. We didn't have a mic then, it was the built-in thing, which is awful on any camera you get. At first I listened back to it and I was like, that's horrible. You know what? Because this movie, it borderlines on horrible on purpose and kind of cool, like cool moments, you know. I wanted, the mic was already bad with the wind, as you can hear. I was just like, let's make it 50 times worth with the squeak. And Hopefully we'll get scolded for that, but did you get that? Did you get the audio supposed to be the little gag in that? And yeah, and Shelby in this movie is supposed to, or when we started, I was like, hey, make sure you wear the same clothes every time. Everyone else did the, wore their costume, made sure to bring everything else. Shelby changed her hair like 50 times, so by the end of it, I was like, you know what, let's just make it into the plot line, or make it into the plot, that you just do that and we'll make fun of that. Very good acting, first acting job by Joe M. Holstad here. That's a good line. And if you listen good, you actually get to hear right here, that was a good acting job by Joe, but you'll get to hear Shelby and Stephanie and Maria, the girls of the filming crew. Also, women are chatty, as you can tell, because you'll be able to hear in one of the upcoming scenes. They just kept talking. So thank you, women. You run everything. And the views of me represent the views of all of the Knob Production members, just letting you know. This is probably my favorite scene, maybe in the entire thing. Joe's laugh. Like, I knew we had to have that in that, and I love this scene because of that, because Joe's laugh is very contagious. It's very great, so we had to make a part just to fill him in here, and I'm glad that I did that, because I think it turned out great. What do you think? How can you be sad after seeing that? Good stuff. But this next scene, I actually did all of the music for this on, what's it called? GarageBand. Yeah, GarageBand. And I hated filming this because I wanted it to go perfect with coming up right here with the Prissy license plate that my aunt let me borrow. Thank you, Aunt. But it took me forever to just do that one shot because I wanted it perfect on there. But I did all the music for this. Thank you very much. In GarageBand. And that's another thing I want to talk about. There is before my acquaintance or whatever, the acquaintance whatever, had all the music done for this, and when we kind of parted ways before we actually started the first, filming thing, we had lost all the music. There was no music, and I was so bummed and so ready to just give him the towel, but you know what? I stuck through, and the band Star Fox and Windchaser stepped up, and we knew those guys, or whatever. I was friends with some of them, and they came through and let us use the music, and you know what, guys, if you're listening, you're probably never going to listen to this, but those guys are awesome. Check them out. Star Fox has an EP out on iTunes. I believe Windchaser has stuff on iTunes. I don't know if they're still together anymore, but those guys came through, and that music is awesome. I love the music in this, and it was a lot better than what it was before. So everything that was horrible that, you want to get bummed about, stuff happens in life, whatever, but no, this is perfect example of, hey, you know what? Something better is going to come along. And it did. Better music. This I made on the keyboard myself, not Windchaser or Star Fox. Yours truly, I made in garage. Yeah, it was just the keyboard I made this on, so Beethoven right here. This was I just watched Requiem for a Dream not long before this, so that shot, I forgot the name of the shot, so I feel bad. But that shot was kind of made famous, where you're holding, steady to look behind you. That was kind of made famous in Requiem for a Dream, so check that out. Good movie. But this scene, when we were coming up, they had park rangers when we were getting all this stuff out and about to go in the woods, and I was like, oh, that's not going to go well here. And they only wanted to know about a bridge, and if we had walked across the bridge and if it was broken. If I can remember that right, they thought we broke the bridge. I guess they were trying to say, oh, you ever been walking around, there was a bridge broken? But we're not breaking bridges, we're ripping arms off. That's all we're doing in here. That was a good thing. You can barely see the blood, but we had to work blood squirting out. Realistic. You know what? We aren't all just CG. We're trying to keep it real here. We're doing our own stunts. See, he didn't. That wasn't even a stunt double. That was John right there. That was John himself taking those hits. He thought. I think he thought I was gonna hit him in the privates there. So he just like, nope, I'm rolling over. Getting over with that. Oh, see on the right there, all of our stuff that we forgot to move out of the shot. This, you know what? This was also in the top 3 hardest to film because the battery's about to die. Right here, we were rushing so bad right here because the battery, we just had the regular, just handheld HD camcorder and only one battery, and we had already walked so far into the woods to get to this place, you know, this location.
Get out of here, you purple.
It's another good line. But we were rushing so much to get this done, which you know, you can kind of see, yeah, you can see some of the props. We kind of were like, frick it, and just kind of threw it out there. But we still got the, I still love, you know, this scene. This is a good, still a good scene. And Airplane, if you saw that little Easter egg, if you rewind it in the top right corner, because in Gaspin's, every single video we've ever done has had an airplane or a train or someone mowing the lawn. So I want to make fun of ourselves because we can't get away from that kind of stuff, but we can do that now with a mic. Mics are good. If you get a mic, get a microphone, take good audio. I really couldn't break that branch. That wasn't me joking there. I need to, I'll get stronger for the next one. But this scene, this was kind of I was pushing my luck in that we kept adding to stuff like, ooh, let's make it this, let's make it, I wanted to make it real grand and like real crazy and whatever else. And then I remember just cracking up at the thought of Craig just jumping into the water face first, and that's why I remember calling him up and like, hey, do you want to do this? We can end it another way or just whatever. But he was for it, and I love the shot. And you know what? I also hated the lighting while we were here and looking at it, but look how tight that looks here. There's kind of parts, you know, when the actual, you know, me and Old Man Charles are talking here, it's kind of bad because the lighting is horrible and it's hard to get lighting in there. There's a freaking tunnel, but Craig was for it, and it turned out hilarious, so thank you, Craig, for going through with this. But I was really pushing my luck, and do you want to jump in a freaking leech probably infested water? He said yes, so. This person, like another person, Shelby and this person are based on people I've met in real life. This is also, you know, the government's always right. That's a reference to a video called Man is Mad That the Mall is Closed or something, or YouTube it or something. This man is mad that the mall is closed. He's banging on the glass and demands that they open, and then somebody comes up, or he sees the person filming him, making fun of him. He says, oh, because the police are always right, huh, or whatever. And that's just based on that person, or Old Man Charles' character. And a quick story, we went to Middletown. We were asking an old man directions, and when we left, he was sitting in this lone parking lot. Craig stopped to ask for directions, and while we were leaving, he was like, wait! One more thing! And I'm trying to bite my lip. What is this guy going to say to us as we drive off? And he says, I'm Old Man Charles! So, we had to put that line in here somewhere. So, a lot of the stuff is people we know, maybe. Certain people we know that we're referencing to, and that's a good lighting. And that is the line he said. I swear to it, we heard it. But we were soaking wet in that, like, I thought for some reason it was just going to be like not that deep, but there's parts where I think our just shoes were completely submerged, and that's a good gag there. But we were, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I remember Russell, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, that stunk, that he just had new shoes and had to walk all in that, so that wasn't good. And this is the first time, oh, Shelby has dyed her hair, so thank you for continuity. We just had to make fun of ourselves, which, that's why I love doing comedy stuff. Like, Novel Productions is mostly comedy stuff. I think it's all comedy stuff. I don't think I've ever done anything serious, but that's the good thing about comedy is you can just kind of fart out things and they're okay if they're bad. So her having the wrong hair, you know, worked out because we kind of just made fun of ourselves. But that's why I do want to do serious stuff in the future. But this is Gas Expensive is a perfect example. It's just a playground. You can play around, not worry about all that stuff. Continuity can go in and out, doesn't matter at all. Kind of make fun of yourselves. And kind of an example that I just don't try. I don't like to try. Don't like to give effort.
Did you pee pee in your hair? Did the baby pee pee in your hair?
But this is Ashton Jeffries' first acting job here as Baby. He was Baby. He was very hungry. He's very demanding. I don't think I'll hire him on to do any more films, actually, because he was hard to work with. He demanded more pay, and I just said no. And he pooped in his pants. And do you think that's a mature way to handle things? I don't think so. So he's done. This is also a reference to maybe someone that I knew in my life that I maybe had a particular closeness to in prior years. Not saying who, but that's who Shelby's character kind of based on. It's almost me just kind of ranting, and I don't go on Facebook and write, yo, this person ticked me off, you know who you are. I actually put you in videos, and that's kind of like my thing. I'll just make fun of you in videos. I'll use your craziness instead of making fun of it, or not making fun of it, but talking about it to other people. I will release my stress and anger in video form. So make me mad if you want to be based, have a character based on you. There's John's great driveway there. It's good to skateboard on if you have tire wheels, not regular wheels. But I don't know why he kept his head down. I don't think he was listening. Like, we know who you are now. But this was still filmed we were filming stuff out of sequence, so I don't even know. Maybe he thought this was part of the intro. I don't know. Director did a bad job holding on there. They thought this was funny, and they mooned me right here. And you get to see that in the bloopers at the end of this on the credits. But that wasn't what I needed, so we had to retake that. Didn't want mooning at all. I thought, well, that squeaked. That was a squeak. But I loved the lighting in this, and I had no idea what I was freaking doing. But I thought the lighting came out great right here. This is a reference. It's funny because this movie is so awful in so many parts, you know, on purpose. But it uses the most prestigious, like, art of like the modern time. I have Dark Knight right here. I used Lost. Like, this is the Dark Knight between Joker and Batman kind of thing. Well, his line at least, like, tell me where he is. Or, like, getting mad, but just a lot of stuff like that. But John's baby was being kind of loud in this, but see, that's the thing. I won't hire babies anymore. John's baby was inside. Just he whined that he didn't get the role as Mike right here. Mike did this at first, and I was like, hey, you're supposed to use your voice. Why'd you go out? And then he explained to me that that was the joke. And that was another time out of many in which my brain didn't function, and I just didn't get it. But comedy expert here, I just didn't get a lot of jokes. John hated this. He hated having to laugh through the talking. That was one thing we kind of disagreed on. He just wanted to laugh a little bit and then be healed. But that was the funny thing about it. He kept laughing and giggling, and had you guys giggling gusses too. Right here is another great scene. I don't know why I didn't mention this. Gov's character is actually based on, if you have ever seen No Country for Old Men, the one guy who's always one step behind the sheriff trying to find out, you know, to solve the mystery that's going on with that money or whatever in the movie. He's always one step behind, and that just, like, that was funny on its own as a character in this movie. Like, we're following through, and it's this one guy that just can't get it right. Like, he's always never, he finds good clues, he just can't get get through. And then this, Gov's already ticked off at getting laughed at, you know, by Joe. So at this point, I just wanted him to just lose it. And what better way to lose it on someone who's already passed on? And I just thought that, did you giggle at that? I thought that was a good little gag there. But this is the scene that I was pushing my luck on. And thank you, Craig, for jumping in the water. And we had to burn leeches off him for about an hour, but it's always worth it for the 800 views this has on YouTube. But we taped that on, if you can see that, just wiggling around. Bam! Right in the water. With the dead body in there. We did our own stunts. Here, but that water is so cold, and I've never jumped in it. We've been there several times. That is in, if you live in Ohio, watching this, that's in Houston Woods in southwestern Ohio, and that's a good place. That's where we filmed the fight scene in there too, with me and the Oilers in the woods and stuff. And the scene, I think. No? Yeah, just those two, I think. But coming back, this, oh, not this one, but I think you get to see the neighbors here that were across the street that really liked whatever, and they got the role in here. But
You told me to go to the spot. There's an old man in this tunnel.
there was one thing I learned from going from videos to this movie was that you have to learn how to transition stuff, and I did my best. Looking back now, it's a year later, and maybe I could have done things, you know, transitioned a little better, but I think, you know, I had to have something to find out, you know, that I was right, because I'm thinking Old Man Charles is crazy at this point, but I had to have something. I had to go back to John, who has lost his mind at this point, but I'm glad, but I had to learn that was a struggle, that you have to transition between scenes, and the best way to flow between them. But looking back, I did pretty good, but there I could see some improvements. This took a long time because it's really hard to get a smooth transition on a tripod. I have a better tripod now, way better one. Bought some new equipment, so that won't happen, but that was really hard. But see, I think this transition is kind of squished together. But hey, Gov's still one step behind, but it's a challenge. You know, someone has to do it though. It's hard being the director. I think this worked out perfectly when I was writing the script, because all these people laugh at Russell, what he looks like, and to finally get to one person that isn't really laughing at Russell or at Gov here. You know what? I pat myself on the back for that. I thought that was a good little gag that worked out in my favor with him getting the laughing gas, whatever. But good little more funny exchange, bringing back the he's gonna beat him up kind of thing. John was confused with looking at the camera and at Gov here, and I left it in because it was funny. I'm looking, not knowing what exactly to look at, but yeah.
No, it's not your stupid hat. I can't stop.
But John had to laugh a lot in this, so
You have to
John, good
take
job
it
laughing.
with you so we can get there.
This right here was the one thing while I was filming. This right here had me in absolute tears. I was in tears behind the camera. I didn't laugh, but I'm just crying my eyes out because it hit me what was going on. Like how, like, I have two of these people taking time out of their day with jobs, dragging the other one down the hill on a child's like tiny car thing. And it hit, I think it just, that had me, just how stupid it was, killed me. So everything came all at once, and I kind of just realized, am I really getting like 13 people out of their busy schedules to help me do this stupid thing? So all at once it hit me at that point. You know, it was really funny. And this is, I believe, Wind Chaser. Yes, Wind Chaser. And their great song. I actually know the song. Sorry. The name of the song has been so long. But I love these transitions with these songs that are coming up, like especially with the final fight. I thought the music, it couldn't have worked out more, and I was so afraid, like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to get this. The music was so good the first time I heard it, and compared to this, like with the Wind Chaser and stuff, Star Fox, so happy with it. It was almost like that music, that their EPs were made for this movie, because I was laughing like towards the credits and stuff, like how perfect like the wording and like what it had to do with kind of, or what it sounded like had to do with the wording. This was a cool transition. No one caught that probably. Worked a long time on that, learning. I learned a lot in this movie, like animating stuff and whatever else. It was the first time we shot in 1080p too, so I had to learn that a lot of stuff mattered because you can see everything now. But like all those pimples on my face. Oh, look, my shirt's inside out. If you didn't catch that before, but I remember John finding the shot. That's another thing that worked out so perfect, because we had to have two spots for the final fights to happen. There was two simultaneous, at the end fights. John found that. It was like, hey, come over here. Come past here. Looked over there. It was just a circle of trees. Dude, I was so happy. There were so much things in this movie that worked out like better than I ever imagined. This was one of them. This spot right here. Just out of the way, we could have a freaking fight, fun fight here, and just have a great time without being bothered or whatever. But that was quite the blessing to have the bands that we were able to get, the great local bands, because I can't get can't have My Chemical Romance and Nickelback playing here. But we're lucky to have that. This is another, oh my gosh, great location for the final fight, which was Stephanie England, the person who helped us with. Well, she helped in several ways, but I mean that was the first prominent thing, the car chase. Helped use her car and stuff. And this is her backyard actually, and wow, there's no shade there, and it was hot. But this day we were filming this was so stressful. We were filming this and had to go and film a lot of the stuff that, the final dialogue and stuff with me and Alex and the fighting there. Or no, we filmed the ending after this, like the ending stuff, we split it up. But John that day woke up and was sick, extremely sick, and I came there and he was throwing up, whatever. If you've seen like me talking about when John left, I talk about this a little bit. John filmed this day after he was throwing up and sick, and that was awesome because he went every single weekend. He was off, I think, on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays. He filmed every single day that he had day off. So he went to work, and on the days he had a day off, came directly and worked with us. Like it was like 8 or 9 in the morning. We would start these days of filming. So John really pulled through for this. So I'm about to cry right now. How much you helped, John. So that was awesome. You came out and finished that. This talk right here. Oh, it's the big reveal. Who is the guy who's behind all this? Who's starting all this gas?
All that matters is that I'm here to kill you.
Bam. Oh, and you get to see that from Gas Expensive 2, it is that guy with the googly eyes. I don't think we ever get a name. And as you can see, I kind of just, things fell perfectly into place. Like,
Who are you exactly?
like that guy and then that line working out, like just... Oh, right here, also. If you got to see the deleted scene, you got to see what the original ending was just me and him going back and forth dialogue. And this is another example of something that inspired me was, if any of you have played PlayStation, played a game called Metal Gear Solid, that series has big cutscenes, like this big, explanations about government conspiracies and things, like crazy things that are happening, with like old footage of like scientists and nuclear facilities and armies and stuff in the background, and big explanations, like dialogue between characters happen like this. And what happened was the whole thing was done. That was the original ending. And then I watched back. You can see in the deleted scene, and I was like, that isn't.
What do you
Like,
mean?
we kind of left everyone kind of hanging. Like, what happened with this, and why did this happen? Why are the gas companies behind this? And I didn't feel like it was already blazing hot that day, and we were so hungry when we filmed the one thing that none of us were really into that. I didn't feel like either of us were freaking into giving the performer or giving anything. So I actually, Alex here was in Tennessee at college during this time, and we actually did this entire dialogue on our iPhones recording, because I didn't have my mic that I'm using now at all, and we just went back and forth on our iPhones, and he sent me the files, and I placed them together on this, and all the footage you see is public domain footage, because I don't want to get anything. I wanted all this to be not, because if you see in the older videos, we kind of like, oh, it's a parody, oh, here's a song in the credits or whatever, and I wanted, Gas Expensive 1 was the start of, hey, let's make our own music, let's get our own, like, public domains sound effects, and let's do our own stuff, because I hated writing on other people's, like, whatever. We still do that, like, I'm not going to say whatever, but I wanted to make stuff our own, whatever. And this is another thing. I think I made this a GarageBand, this music that's going in the background too. And it sounds very similar. I actually was watching Metal Gear cutscenes from the game to kind of get ready for this. But if you're watching this and never seen this, you probably don't care. But hey, if you ever get the time, check out that game, because pretty cool stuff like this happens. I think this better explain, like, you got to see, like, why did this happen? Who's behind all this? And why all this goofy stuff happened. In between all this stupid stuff that we're kind of just throwing at the viewer, whatever, I wanted to at least wanted to have a explanation, you know, in case, you know, there might be a sequel someday. You never know. It kind of ties all this together, because before, with that first thing, there wasn't much there. There wasn't much substance there. But I thought it was cool that we explained, like, why did all this happen? Like all the goofy stuff, I bullcrapped out. Like, why did he die? Like, why did he kill his own guy? Like, somehow I skipped my way through that. Like, you know,
Why didn't you just
hopscotched my way through all those plot holes, and why we took our shirt off and fought and stuff. And so I really enjoy this versus the old explanation. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you like it better than the old one?
hitting me with a car on a scooter and just leaving me there?
That was actually right there where I was holding this, I guess, Expensive 2 commentary, but I was holding what we used as the scripts. We were drawing storyboards. Also, I storyboarded like 90% of this film, and you're probably not supposed to do that, but I was just kind of dumb back then. I didn't know how to really do a movie. I still don't, but I've learned a little bit, like not to use a storyboard for absolutely everything, and dialogue we kind of just winged it. As you can see, it's worse, but this scene right here, I worked harder on this scene than any of the other scenes, and I want to say something. You know what? I hope you're not embarrassed by me saying this, but I honestly want to give you like credit and talk about this on the commentary. I put my whole heart into this scene right here, and I loved the music, and I sat down and edited this thing for hours and hours and hours and hours to make it perfectly timed, perfectly just atmosphere, perfect effects, perfect. I just wanted this to be like, okay, you've sat through this movie. I want to, you know, give you guys a big explosion. And this is as I've talked about things that have inspired me this whole entire movie, this was the thing that, this is inspiration from everything. Like the beginning with our eyes, that was all of the good, the bad, and the ugly. At the very end, that final scene, that's one of my favorite scenes of any movie ever. And just kind of like a callback to every fight scene right here. Like we use every single thing. And the thing they came up with the thing you'll see in a little bit where they do the kind of hand thing and kick, that's from, I think, Rush Hour. That was John or Russell's ideal to do that fight. But I wanted to make, back to whatever, I wanted to make this so good, and sorry if you're embarrassed by me calling you out on this, or not calling you out, but just how much this meant to me. But Uriah Bisson, who is Mike's brother, actually gave me the feedback. He saw the movie afterwards. He was part of Windchaser, actually. He was the one that helped me get the music too. But he told me, he was like, he saw this. He was probably, I don't know if he was joking. If you are, sorry, I said this is whatever. But I took it as he said that it made him almost cry, like it almost made him tear up. And this is so unbelievable because it's how I think awful of a like thrown together job I put of this movie. He said it like teared him up seeing the final. He saw the final scene. He went back and watched that scene so many times because like it was just so good, and he saw I put my heart into it, and that meant everything to me. That was like, sorry if I'm getting freaking kind of emotional now. You were looking for jokes in this commentary, but that meant everything. Like that, like I put so much energy, and to hear that was so awesome. Because if you look at like our views on YouTube for our other videos, we aren't that popular. We're not hugely like, we make this for our friends, you know, for our enjoyment and stuff. And I just had a blast making this movie. But hearing that, like hearing from other people like, hey, this was awesome, and I loved this, and I watched it back, and like I really felt how much you put into this, that we can get 100 views for the rest of my life we can get 20 views for the rest of my life on our videos, and it won't matter, because comments like that and the few people that are really like that enjoy it and are entertained, you know, that means that was on my bucket list to make a movie, and that just meant the world to me. So thank you, Uriah. That comment sticks with me, and that motivates me to, you know, want to make more movies and to make more videos. And I've heard people before like, hey, I was so down today and upset, and your videos, you know, for me. Sorry, I'm not talking about this final scene at all, but that just was cool to hear that about this scene. But this, you'll get to see right here, Alex, we finished whatever we could right here, and we couldn't, Alex had to leave back, like this was right at the end of the summer, and things were running kind of close, and he had to leave back to Tennessee, back to college. And luckily, we were trying to think of things like for the fight scenes we could do, like this was kind of at the end, like what if we just had him fly off, because I couldn't think of anything. And that's actually, if you go on Google Maps, I went to Google Maps and found this area and put that behind it. So, but see, I put my heart into it. You're right, Uriah, I did. But oh, Craig also, when he fell back earlier, that was his own stunt. I told him not to fall back on your back. That's not a good idea. Anyways. But this is kind of a callback to the old ones. Am I gonna die right here? I don't know. Look at when I lay down, my hair looks like it's not even a real thing. It's just, look at that stupid hair. But oh, back to oh, you're about to see it right here. When Russell, what happened with Alex left, and we needed, how are we gonna end it? He was gonna have him shot in the back of the head, like we were gonna have Craig's character, the robber, the killer from the first two movies or whatever. We were gonna have him shoot him and then fall over. Well, we couldn't do that because Alex wasn't there, and I was just like, well, how are we gonna finish this movie? And we went back. I remembered something. We wanted decapitations in this movie, so I went to Hobby Lobby, and you got to see in the behind the scenes, I made Alex's head. That was Russell in that black shirt. And wow, I love that. Oh wow, that Lions comes back. Just, I couldn't be happier with that, how that turned out. But I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna do the decapitation. So thankfully, the decapitation. Thank you, Heads at Hobby Lobby. Picked it up for $10. You can make your own decapitation. Did you not see my tattoo? It was so hot that day, and
fair enough.
There's no shade. Like, we were by the trees, because that was like the first shade that we had. And oh my gosh, it was hot that that blue thing on his forehead kept falling off, and I'm sweaty, and that was the hardest, was the final fight to film and to edit, you know, to get the editing done. That was the hardest stuff. But the car chase scene was the funnest to do. It was also a lot of work, but it ended up being just a blast. We were having so much fun the first day, and even though it was hot, but the fight scene was just so much complex work, and getting the transitions right and everything, that it took a long time. I thought that was a good gag that that
I know,
Craig's
I'm
watching
so
back there.
happy.
And this goes back to we wanted to keep the dialogue so lame. That was a long cut there. But I wanted to go back to the thing like, hey,
I'm so
yeah,
happy
the
I
serious
can-
stuff
I
happened
can
with
just-
the dye project, everything we just went through, but I wanted the heart of the movie, and I still want, if more things come from Gaskins of that whole, you know, series, I want it still to be that corny, like, whatever. I think that's just timeless, that gag right there. And then, oh, I still can't get any to this day, but that was you got to see it on film. The John and Russell again run it for me.
Okay,
But
okay. Tired of this? We never get any time alone. We got all these crap going on.
this also was another.
Hey, I kissed your best friend.
This was another thing. Shelby, there was a whole different ending. She was gonna jump on my back, and I was gonna say hop on, Spider Monkey, and then I was gonna fly off into the sky, making fun of Twilight at the time, which was really popular. Which now it's not at all, is it? But Shelby had to leave, and I was like, dang it! And I changed the whole ending to where that happened, and everything like with schedules getting changed, and there were certain scenes that had to be filmed different. Everything worked out great, and Shelby had to leave early actually made for a better, I think, ending in the end right here. But as you see, look how burnt he was burnt, and then that where it says I make things go dead, that was in there for a week, because when he washed it off, because the sun, you know, of course didn't get on that, he had a permanent tattoo for like a week, embroidered in white on his red body. After that, Craig really got the worst of it, because he was in the wife beater there, which was John's, by the way. John's a big wife beater fan. He beats his wife. Just kidding, but not really. But
So guys, we did a great job.
that you get to see in the behind the scenes. That hurt so much, and we were so done in the bloopers. I don't know where you get to see one of the behind the scenes stuff. Getting hit in the face, just I didn't even react to it. I just got up and was like, okay, let's do this. I knew I just got hit and it hurt, but I just was hot and wanted it over. But and I think this is a wonderful ending. One last time of Russell just totally over this. Thought that was a good ending here. But Minnie, it took the entire summer. It ate up. I didn't have a job. Sorry, I'm a bum. And it took me forever. And then editing, once I was editing, I was in college, or working on schoolwork at the time, and man, just the editing took forever with being in school too at the same time.
Looks like our job here is
And this worked out.
save the world from the evil gas.
You cannot plan stuff like this
And
working
it's
out
time to
perfect.
burn up some of that gas.
With this is Stephanie's car, by the way. I don't have Hello Kitty. I'm a boy. I don't do that. But this getting ran over right there. Wow, like this, that could have fell any other way. That could have broken too and looked stupid. But because of the way it was, like I was hoping so much it looked cool, so I could run the credits over top of it. And it worked out perfect. But that running over, or actually. Mike or Stephanie, I think, was in the car. I think Stephanie was in the car and felt so bad about, because it's actually, she ran over top of it a little bit before the thing, and I was like, no, it didn't. It worked out. It works out fine, because when it comes down, it looks like it just gets ran over. So, Stephanie, don't beat yourself up, because it worked out beyond perfect. And so there's the movie. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I just want to say a couple things that, as Number Productions, we're coming up on 5 years at this time of this, me doing this commentary. You know what, real quick before I talk about that. The credits. You know what's a good thing to do when you're making a movie? Tip to anybody wanting to make a movie, or anything, actually, that uses anybody as other than yourself. Write down the credits as you go and who helps do what, because I forgot John in this at first, and it was only until I did the behind the scenes and put him in the behind the scenes credits I was like, okay, the most important person in the entire movie other than me as the main character is not in the credits, and I had to go back and re-export, and exporting took of this movie to to combine all the effects and stuff in the movie editor. It takes like 4 hours, 5 hours. It takes a long time, so that's not something you just like, oh, I'll fix it and get it back. No, that takes a long time. So I was a dummy. I also left out the person who helped me earlier, Uriah. I think I did, or I put the band name in there, I think. Yeah, I think I might have left out the credits too. So that was really stupid of me. I probably forgot other people, but as you go, just think of that, put it in there. But I just want to say, as doing this for almost 5 years now, and we don't have that many views, and I'm not like sad about that. We've had a couple like big hits, 1,000, and the Gas Expensive. It's we've had our most hits on stuff. I am so happy to do this stuff, and as a hobby, I love it. And like a lot of people say, like, oh, even if we didn't have all the money, it's just awesome to do this. And well, I'm a person that doesn't get money from this, and I actually spend a lot of money into this. And as a person that does do that, and we're not super popular, we have our fan base on Facebook and stuff, and small on YouTube. Like we've never broke 100 subscribers, but you guys that are subscribed to this and listen to this and enjoy this stuff, like that's who I do it for, and our friend, like close friends and stuff, and whoever enjoys it. And even if it's only like 100 views per video or less, like it's always less than 100 views, I have a blast making these, and making this movie with everyone was a blast. Like, oh, I just had so much fun. And we when we did the premiere, Shelby actually bought me a chair, and like everybody went in on it in the premiere with all my friends, and that moment, that was one of the best days of my life. iPad also came out. iPad 2, I got an iPad 2 that same day, so that adds to it. But that day made me feel so awesome, and it made me feel like this is why I want to do that. Oh, nose through the eye hole right there. But I was just, that's why I do that, to like, for the chair. No. But it was a director chair, if I even mentioned. It probably just sounded like I just had a chair. But that was so awesome of them to do that, and my friends to just help me do this stuff. And I hope I can always do that. And thank you guys for watching. Is there going to be another Gas Expensive? I've had this question a couple of times. It's a lot of work, now more so than ever, to get us together. We're all busy with college, and I'm about to graduate soon and work on getting a job, and everybody has their job, and John moved away. I want to do something else. That's why we kind of had the cliffhanger at the end kind of thing. So who knows? But thank you for watching the commentary. You guys are awesome, and I love you all. Goodbye.